Here comes another one about the Prince of Pot Pies. Shout out to Tariq for that one. But yeah, you know, I want to discuss the antics of quote unquote Dr. Umar Johnson and the reason why people like him actually make a bigger case for SYSBM versus the opposite of what he attempts to do. First of all, just recently, Dr. Umar Johnson went on an attack on Kobe Bryant's widow, Vanessa Bryant, about how she's not doing money to HBCUs and all this other stuff, right? This is the same man who's been trying to build a school for almost 10 years, if not longer, that ain't built. This is the same brother who's going up on interviews telling brothers, dick police and brothers telling about what race women they should mess with. They should only be messing with black women and all that stuff. But this man don't have the same smoke when it comes to black women. He don't. Rarely do you ever hear Dr. Umar say anything about Eve, to say anything about any of these black women. The Serena sisters, none of them. He don't say nothing about them. He says he's going after a small percentage of black men for what? Like that small percentage of black men are really making the difference. Then he wants to talk about money. Okay? Well, I got news for you. Nobody's entitled to your money, no matter what race they are, whether it's women of the same race or not. Nobody's entitled to your money that you work your ass off for and earn. Okay? The same way you got it, the same way they need to get it, to get near you, to even be, in a position of the benefits of your work. They need to earn that position, not be entitled to it just based on race. This is the kind of nonsense that brothers ain't trying to hear no more. That's why these young brothers in these interviews are hitting back at Dr. Umar. Because people are tired of hearing these typical female shaming tactics that he wants to use. And the reality of it is, the reason why a lot of brothers SYSBM is because they don't want to be talked into going back to the plantation, which they know they have no control over. Guess what? These brothers want to date black women, or they have to do with black women, great. But they are not required to be with anybody except who they want to be with. And this idea that he's going to put this burden completely on black men as to, uplifting the black community, got news for you. You can't lead people who don't want to follow, Dr. Umar. And that's a lot of black women, okay? Let's just be real. With the black feminists joining with the white feminists, basically, they are pretty much white feminists at the end of the day, all right? But here it is. You use the kid gloves whenever you talk about quote-unquote sisters, Dr. Umar. But rarely do you even want to say, well, I understand why some of these brothers are doing it. I don't agree. I think we should work together to build our community and stay within our own. Okay, you have right that opinion. But for you to put this squarely on the backs of black men, when you know that we have the highest illiteracy rate, the highest unemployment rate, the highest mortality rate, the highest incarceration rate, maybe we should work on those problems. Because you can't really have a man run a household of any race if he's in that position. And maybe one thing would help do that if you built that school. I mean, where's the school, Dr. Umar? I know this is a typical question, but where is it? And not only that, talking about black love and black family, where's your black wife, Dr. Umar? Because we don't see her. We haven't seen her. We know we see you got two baby mamas. We know that. Married neither one of them. But you up here on your high horse telling brothers what they need to do with their penis, who they need to date. Well, let me tell you what my sentiment is, brothers. You date who the hell you want to date. Who give a damn about what Dr. Umar says? Because at the end of the day, Dr. Umar ain't living the life that he's claiming he wants you to live. Okay? The school hasn't been built, and he ain't married, but he got kids. So he created two single mothers. And this man sitting there telling you about what's wrong with you dating a black woman, a white woman, or whatever race. No, we're not. See, what he does is pander, okay? This Negro panders for money, okay? Because he knows where the bulk of his support comes from, and that's from black women, because he'll tell them what they want to hear. That's why. And at the end of the day, he's sitting there in this picture looking like he all pro-black and he's unapologetically African. Well, Dr. Umar, let's not pretend that we have Africans that mess with us as American blacks like that. Let's stop trying to deny that, because I've heard you in an interview trying to undermine that and make it seem like, oh, that's just anecdotal evidence basically, and that's nonsense. There is case after case after case where you have African parents telling their kids, don't date American black person. Hell, they'd rather date a white person than date an American black. Okay? And some of them will even tell you that. Their parents have told them that. Here you are still there pumping this, these virtual signaling nonsense. When you need to virtual signal the very people who can determine that. Whether, look, let's just be honest here. You have a group of women that don't think they have to compete for the men that they got. Don't really like the men that they got, but they want the first right of refusal, a lot of them. I mean, come on. You're worried about telling Vanessa Bryant what to do with her money, right? This woman stuck with Kobe Bryant after that cheating scandal where he almost got that rape charge. She still stuck with that man and stayed faithful to him, right? Raised his kids and all this other stuff. But none of that matters. No, what you want to do is hit her up about that. You can tell her what to do with her money. Well, you can as Kobe Bryant owes an apology to black women because he didn't marry a black woman. You know what? I don't think so. Kobe Bryant married the woman that he wanted to marry and the woman that wanted him. That's what I always say, be with who wants to be with you. If you got to struggle that hard to say, let me go find a black woman, first of all, it should have been that easy, then Kobe should have been married to a black woman then, right? But here's the thing, Kobe actually has some culture since he was brought up in a very enriched environment. Okay, the man speaks Italian, he spoke a few other languages, very well educated young brother. All right? So, guess what? Maybe the problem was maybe he was seen as a lame. You ever think of that? Maybe he didn't. Look, you got people like Terrell Owens talking about that, about how black women didn't really mess with him, but white women did. And in a lot of cases, just as well as we do, Dr. Umar, let's be real. A lot of these sisters also have more of a thing for light-skinned brothers than they do dark-skinned brothers. That's been a known thing. Light-skinned brothers even talk about it. But you know what's funny? It seems to be that white women are more interested in dating dark-skinned men than their own women. What does that say, Dr. Umar, about the colorism? But you try to pin that all on black men, like black men are once telling black women to go out there and get these blonde weaves sewed in their head and these color contacts and BBLs and all this other stuff, right? And skin lightening, yeah, because we're going around telling black women they should do that, right? When it's actually quite the opposite. But you're too busy trying to pander to the folks who you think you can get a quick check off of at our expense. So, yeah, that's the reason why it's SYSBM. Because you ain't trying to save us. You're just trying to get us basically to fall in line with the ideology that you want to push. But at the end of the day, where's the results, man? Where's the results of all this talk? Because there, you got this is what you got to contend with right here. This is what you got to contend with, brother. This right here, you got to contend with. Okay? You got to contend with that. Okay? You got to contend with that. Point blank, period. Explain that away, brother. Explain that away. I mean, this is a video of YouTube. This is the picture of a video of a YouTuber doing this. Then on top of it, the truth of the matter is when Dr. Umar is asked about Where's the money for the school? He gets agitated and wants to argue with people. So what does that tell you? That should tell you a lot, if nothing else. We're not going to run around here listening to pork chop preachers who want to sit up there and do all the emotional, you know, kind of emotional rhetoric out here, all the high and mighty stuff and all the compassion and the passion and anger, when the fact of the matter is these brothers need to be worried about themselves. They need to worry about getting education. They need to worry about their proper diet, taking care of themselves, living a stress-free life, or at least as far as not living in unnecessary stress. That the stress they have should be producing something, not just constantly having the society attack them around every corner. All right, or their own group. Whether that could be their own mother. A lot of times, we got problems like that. These brothers, a lot of times, you know what? Let's be real, Dr. Umar. A lot of these brothers don't want to date a black woman because they don't want to date a woman who's like their mother. They don't. Look at Blueface. Come on, why would that man look? At some point, Blueface is going to learn too, and I hope the brother does. And I hope he expands his horizon, because you know something, his life might get a lot better as far as his dating choices. Okay, he might just be good if he says, "Hey, let me take the chance to go to and expand my horizons and look at women of other cultures and actually see them as an option." He may not come back. I mean, come on, he got his mom up there sitting there talking about what his freaking, you know, fat habits are based on what his girlfriend wants to say. I mean, just embarrassing, disgusting stuff. I mean, like, that's something to brag about. Even if it was true, which I'm going to be honest with you, I don't believe it. I believe she just wants to get some attention at her son's expense, which is even more disgusting. The fact of the matter is, what is that to tell the public, that your son likes the women your color that look like you? Why do you assume that he likes women just because you're dark? Does that mean that they're all like you? I mean, come on, this is the kind of ego tripping and just, you know, this whole complex of this son husband mentality a lot of black women got with their sons. But you're not addressing that stuff. You're worried about trying to tell brothers who to date, where to stick their penis. You should have told yourself that, Dr. Umar, when you had those 2 illegitimate kids. And I only call them illegitimate based on the fact you didn't marry either one. You did not marry either one of the mothers. Okay? Because you know that's what they would be labeled in old school society. They're not, the mother's not covered, therefore the children are not legitimate. That's what you did. You created 2 single mothers, Dr. Umar. Now, again, you can say that the women didn't act right and all this stuff. Well, guess what? Welcome to a lot of our worlds, okay? But you want these dudes to go run around looking for a unicorn. Well, guess what? Maybe the real problem is you need to talk to the very people who you're trying to defend. Yeah, I know they're paying you and whatnot, but at the end of the day, that's not doing nothing for us. And the more and more you do this, the more and more a lot of other black men are going to see you as an adversary and not an ally, which really you're not anyway. You're not, because the only thing you're doing is running around here, rah-rah and stuff, but at the end of the day, where's the results? Where's your receipts for all the talk you say? We can do this, we do that. Where's your receipts, Dr. Umar? Because we ain't seeing them. We ain't seeing them. We see you up here arguing with, or talking crap online to Sarah Sutton-Seti and, you know, up there with your ball hat and up there on the phone with imaginary goons, all the other stuff. We see that stuff. We see the clown stuff going on. Well, where is the actual results for the stuff you say that you want to do? Where are you doing them in your life? Okay? It don't make any difference if it's a Christian preacher, a Muslim preacher, or an atheist preacher that happens to be black. If you're not walking the walk that you're talking, we're not going to listen to you, and we don't want to hear it. Okay? If that brother on Joe Budden's podcast is happy, guess what? I'm happy for him. If he likes it, I love it. But you're trying to hold a group of men who don't really have that much power responsible for the disintegration based on them not taking allegiance to this false sense of race loyalty, when the real race loyalty should be to people working together, women actually basking in their femininity, and changing the habits that they brought from the 1960s. That's actually carried over. That's what you really need to target, because it's not really the men, Dr. Umar. Let's just be real. But they were the easiest targets, as usual. So really what you're doing is no different than what mainstream society does. You're just doing it from a different angle. So, you need to check yourself before you check everybody else. Plain and simple.